Shalom, Israel. This is Bishop Nathaniel. The Israelites have been scattered across the four corners of the earth, as prophesied in Deuteronomy, the 20th chapter. Here in Israel United in Christ, we need your help to recover the remnant of our people, teach them the gospel. Please help us, support us, and join or donate to the Booster Club today. Shalom.
The name of the class is Economics in Israel. Economics in Israel. Economics in Israel. Now, I actually came up with this class 1 year ago. All right. All of this paper, I got the date and all that from when I printed it out. I printed it out March 8th, 2019. But I came up with it in, February, like literally a year ago. Probably before that. You know what I'm saying? So, it's been preserved. You know what I'm saying? So we gonna go on and bring it out today. All right. So the first thing I need is definitions for economics. I don't know if it's the Google one or the Merriam-Webster.
You want
The social science that studies. Yes, that one. It's another definition for it too. But it say the social science that studies how individuals, organizations, just scroll down a little bit, and, the other way, and societies manage the scarce resources under their control for the satisfaction of their needs and desires. Well, that's actually not the definition. I'm going to just read the definitions I got on paper. It say the economics is the social science that studies the production, distribution, and consumption of goods and services, focuses on the behavior and interactions of economic agents and how economies work. So that's a pretty long definition. It ain't just plain. The second one is a little more plain. It says the study of the use of scarce resources that have alternative uses. So basically using, what we get from the earth and all that to supply, meet our needs and demands and all of that. Everybody understand? All right. So as a people, why are the Israelites poor economically? Why are we not thriving economically? Guys.
Shalom. One reason is poor spending habits or poor saving habits.
All right, like what's the root of us being poor though?
Shit, being cursed.
Okay. All right. Right. All right. That's good. All right, let's start at Deuteronomy chapter 8, verse 7. You good. Deuteronomy chapter 8, verse 7. So we're going to dive into why we are poor economically as a people.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 8 and verse 7. For the Lord thy God bringeth thee into a good land, a land of brooks of water, of fountains, and depths that spring out of valleys and hills.
Right, so we in a wilderness in the book of Deuteronomy. God is letting us know that he bringing us into the promised land, and this land is going to be flowing, with natural resources. Read.
A land of wheat and barley and vines and fig trees, and pomegranates, a land of oil olive and honey, a land wherein thou shalt eat bread without scarceness. Thou shalt not lack anything in it.
Right, so God said in this land he bringing us to, we weren't going to have to worry about, you know what I'm saying, being short on bread, running out of bread, running out of this, running out of that. We wouldn't have no scarceness in our pantries. Read.
A land whose stones are iron, and out of whose hills thou mayest dig brass.
Right, so it's going to be literally riches within your land. You're going to be able to dig in the ground and find riches. He was going to bring us into a rich land. Read.
When thou hast eaten and art full, then thou shalt bless the Lord thy God for the good land which he hath given thee.
Right, so God said when we came into this land, what was we supposed to do? Thank the Lord our God. Bless the Lord our God because he is the one that's giving it to us, right? Read.
Verse 11, beware that thou forget not the Lord thy God in not keeping his commandments.
Because that's how you forget the Lord thy God. A lot of people think they know God, but they have forgotten him because you forget him by not keeping his commandments. If you're not keeping the Lord's commandments, you forgot what God you was dealing with because he is a God of law and order. So we said, beware when you get into this land with all these riches that you stop keeping my commandments. Read.
And his judgments and his statutes which I command thee this day, lest when thou hast eaten and art full, and hast built goodly houses and dwelt therein.
So he going into the mindset of when you get all these riches and obtain all these things, don't let this thought in your mind creep up. Read.
And when thy herds and thy flocks multiply, and thy silver and thy gold is multiplied, and all that thou hast is multiplied, then thine heart be lifted up.
Right. Don't let your heart be lifted up and forget. Well, read on.
And thou forget the Lord thy God.
Right. Don't let your heart be lifted up and you forget who granted you all of those things, all of those riches, those resources and stuff like that. God granted us all of that stuff without any pay, without, you know what I'm saying? He didn't require nothing from us. That was his gift to us. But he said, when you get it, don't sit up there and act like, you know what I'm saying, you forgot who did it for you. Read.
Which brought thee forth out of the land of Egypt from the house of bondage, who led thee through that great and terrible wilderness, wherein were fiery serpents and scorpions and drought, where there was no water, who brought thee forth water out of the rock
right.
of
Remember the Lord who looked out for you in your poverty. I fed you. I gave you water out of a rock when you ain't have no water in the wilderness. I saved you from fiery serpents. We read about that 2 weeks ago. You know what I'm saying? The Most High looked out for us and protected us. Read on.
Verse 16, who fed thee in the wilderness with manna, which thy fathers knew not, that he might humble thee.
That he might what?
That he might humble thee.
Right, so in the wilderness, we had to eat bread from heaven and, you know, unfamiliar foods and stuff like that to survive. So that way, when we get into our good and rich land, we'll be appreciative of the Most High. We'll remember those days when we didn't have all of that. You see what I'm saying? Read on.
And that he might prove thee to do thee good at thy latter end.
Read.
And thou say in thine heart, my power and the might of mine hand hath gotten me this wealth.
Right. Don't get that thought in your mind that it was you. You the one that obtained all this wealth. You the one that obtained this economic stability. No, it was the Most High God. But he said if we got that thought in our mind and we forgot, you know what I'm saying, who gave us that ability, that stability, read.
Verse 18, but thou shalt remember the Lord thy God, for it is he that giveth thee power to get wealth.
So the Bible says that God gives us the power to get wealth. God gives us the power to get wealth. That's God that gives that, read.
That he may establish his covenant, which he sware unto thy fathers, as it is this day.
Read.
And it shall be, if thou do at all forget the Lord thy God.
So if you do turn around and forget the Lord your God, read.
And walk after other gods, and serve them, and worship them, I testify against you this day, that ye shall surely perish.
Right, I'm going to take all of that away from you. You're going to perish. Read.
As the nations which the Lord destroyeth before your face.
Just like you witness all these nations that are moved out the way for you to get to your promised land, just like you witness them being destroyed, read.
So shall ye perish.
You're going to perish the same way. I'm going to get rid of you. Read.
Because ye would not be obedient unto the voice of the Lord your God.
So y'all see that the Most High gave us rich land, rich resources and all of that. But how did we lose it? We became disobedient. We forgot the Lord our God. We forgot who gave us that wealth. Y'all understand? All right, let's go to Deuteronomy 28:15.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
Right, in Deuteronomy 8 it said we would perish. In Deuteronomy 28, he gets specific into how we would perish. He giving details on what he would cause to happen to us for forgetting him, you know what I'm saying, when we got to our land. Read.
Verse 16.
Uh-huh.
Cursed shalt thou be in the city.
Because he said in Deuteronomy 8, look, y'all gonna have brass in the rocks. You know, your rocks gonna be brass, and you know what I'm saying? You're gonna have riches within your ground. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna have to work for nothing. It's all gonna be already there. But if you turn around and forget me, you're gonna be cursed in the city. Read.
And cursed shalt thou be in the field.
Uh-huh.
Cursed shall be thy basket and thy store.
Right. So he said we were gonna be cursed in the city, in the field, and cursed in our basket and store. We know how we cursed in the city. We live in the worst parts of the city. We live in the projects, rundown houses. You know what I'm saying? We don't live in Chanel where it's golf courses and, you know what I'm saying, all of that fountains and, you know, stuff like that. We don't, that's not our communities. Because God said who would curse us for forgetting about him. And when it said cursed in the field, today, you know what I'm saying, so-called black people make up 1% of the U.S. Farmers Association. Did y'all know that? 1%. Read.
Verse 18.
And so, and also, the basket in the store, we have little, if any, black businesses. How many of y'all can go beyond one hand of black businesses y'all know about? Count 'em. Exactly. You see what I'm saying? Now, you can Walmart, Kroger, Target, you know what I'm saying? You can go, you need about 10 hands to count what you know off the top of what the other nations got. You know what I'm saying? With us, we got to struggle to think of one. Because God said we would be cursed. He would curse our basket and our store. Go to Haggai 1 verse 6.
The book of Haggai, chapter 1 and verse 6. Ye have sown much and bring in little.
So as a nation of people, we all work, right? God said we work, but we bring in little. Really just enough to sustain ourselves. Some of us still go to work and still come home with that eviction notice on our door. You know what I'm saying? Still the repo man pulling up at your, you know, your driveway. And you just got off from work. You know what I'm saying? We sow much, but we bring in little, right?
Ye eat, but ye have not enough.
Right. Ye eat, but ye have not enough. You know what I'm saying? You get paid, you go grocery shopping. By the next time you get paid, it's no more groceries in the pantry or the refrigerator. You know what I'm saying? It's not enough. If you lost your job, you wouldn't know what the hell to do. God said that would happen to us, right?
Ye drink, but ye are not filled with drink.
Uh-huh.
Ye clothe you, but there is none warm. And he that earneth wages to put it into a bag with holes.
So we work just to literally dump all of our money back to the white man that gave us the little paycheck. You see what I'm saying? There's no money circulating in our communities at all. Period. We spend money to accumulate nothing, and we make the white man richer. That's God said that would happen to us if we forgot him. From there, go to Deuteronomy 28:43.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 43. The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low.
So the stranger that is within you is going into who? Us.
The other nations.
Right, the other nations. Like, give me some examples.
Shit, Moab, and you know what I'm saying, with the Chinese stores and the restaurants, and then the Arabs with the gas stations.
Right, exactly. You know what I'm saying? They within our community, them stores in our hoods. You know, we taught on Pike today. You know what I'm saying? And he was either a Moabite or an Ammonite. The owner pulled up in his little Benz, just comfortable as hell, in the middle of the hood. You know, ain't nobody gonna touch him. You know what I'm saying? Walked over to our camp, inspected our formation. You know what I'm saying? And we didn't know who the hell he was. We didn't know if he was a kung fu master or something. We didn't know. And then the dude, the brother that was listening, he had whispered to his car, "That's the owner." You know, at the gas station that we was at, "That's the owner." Like, okay, you know what I'm saying? But it just goes to show, you know, he pulling up in a, you know, he don't live nowhere over there, pulling up in a nice new model Benz with a suit on. You know what I'm saying? And he is the owner of that store in the middle of the hood that our people go in and out of all day, every day. You see what I'm saying? God said that would happen to the Israelites. The stranger that's within you, he gonna get up above you very high, and you gonna come down very low. Our people on Pike Avenue, crack pipes. You know what I'm saying? Prostitution. You know what I'm saying? Poverty is shameful. But, you know what I'm saying, the Ammonite, the Moabite, whatever he was, suit, new Benz, all that. And that is his business in our neighborhood. Read on.
Verse 44. He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him.
Going into banks, getting stuff financed and all of that, we have to go to them. Read.
He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail.
Right, so the other nations are flourishing off of our spending. Because every time we buy something, we go to them. And we sustain their stores. We sustain their economy. Jump down to 48.
Verse 48. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck, until he have destroyed thee.
So the Bible said in hunger, thirst, nakedness, meaning for clothes, for all things, all of our necessities and wants, we have to go to our enemies for, to the point where we not forced to do it. He said he was going to put the yoke of iron on your neck at first for you to go to them for everything. Now, you don't need no yoke, no chains, none of that. We go right to them for everything that we need. You know what I'm saying? We mentally, we don't know nothing about having our own. You see what I'm saying? We not forced to go to them for everything no more, but we still do. That's a curse. Go to Baruch chapter 3, verse 8. So this is the precept of Deuteronomy 28:48, because he said he would have a yoke of iron on your neck. You know you in captivity, literally for sure, when it's yokes of iron upon you, holding you down. But he said until he have destroyed thee. So now the yokes are iron off, but yet we still in captivity. How? Read what you got.
The book of Baruch, chapter 3 and verse 8. Behold, we are yet this day in our captivity.
We to this day in our captivity. Read.
Where thou hast scattered us for a reproach and a curse, and to be subject to payments.
To be what?
Subject to payments.
Subject to payments. That's how we know we are still in captivity. We still in slavery. To be able to live on this earth, to be a citizen in America, you have to break them off something. Period. Point blank. Read.
According to all the iniquities of our fathers, which departed from the Lord our God.
Right. So even if you providing your own food, water, clothing, so to speak, and all of that, guess what do you still have to pay anyway? Abraham.
Taxes.
Taxes. Now I'm finna show y'all some real code that our Lord and Savior said at his own mouth. Let's go to Matthew 17, verse 24. The Lord and Savior Jesus Christ let us know, you know what I'm saying, how to determine whether or not we in captivity. He said it straightforward. Read what you got.
The book of Matthew, chapter 17 and verse 24. And when they were come to Capernaum, they that received tribute money came to Peter and said, does not your master pay tribute?
Right, so the Roman tax collectors came to Peter and they was like, do Jesus pay taxes? Because, they was always trying to catch him up in something. Read.
He saith, yes.
Yeah, you do, I think. Yeah, read.
And when he was come into the house, Jesus prevented him, saying, what thinkest thou, Simon?
So Jesus had to check Peter to make sure he was in the right state of mind pertaining to why he did pay taxes. Read.
Of whom do the kings of the earth take custom or tribute? Of their own children or of strangers?
So he said, who do the people take tribute from? Their own people or the strangers, the other nations who would be their captives? Read.
Verse 26. Peter saith unto him, of strangers.
The other nations. So he letting you know when a nation that's in power taking taxes from other people, that's how you know they in power. Watch what Christ said. Read.
Jesus saith unto him, then are the children free.
When you see you able to collect taxes from other people, that's when you free. Y'all understand? So as long as we paying them taxes, that's how we know we are not free. Because he said we free when we actually receiving tribute. Y'all understand? All right, so from there, go to 1 Maccabees 2, verse 17. 1 Maccabees 2, verse 17. So now, how do they get our people? As far as thinking that we can have, because a lot of our people, they got money, right? They got wealth. They wealthy. But if you wealthy and your people in poverty, are you really wealthy? No. They always get us to sell out by giving us what? The American dream. That's nothing new. They've been giving us the American dream thousands of years ago, and we're going to read about it. 1 Maccabees 2:17.
The book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 2 and verse 17. Then answered the king's officers and said to Mattathias on this wise, thou art a ruler, and an honorable and great man in this city, and strengthened with sons and brethren. Now therefore come thou first and fulfill the king's commandment, like as all the heathen have done. Yea, and the men of Judah also, and such as remain at Jerusalem.
Right. So right now it's the destruction of Nicanor. You know what I'm saying? We supposed to be aware of the history of the Maccabees. This is Mattathias, the father of the 5 sons, the father of Judas Maccabees. They knew he was a mighty man of influence amongst our people, right? So they came to him. They was like, we know you a mighty man. You know what I'm saying? We know you got, influence over the people. So come do like the rest of all the heathen do. Go on and submit to the white man. Let's see what they using to try to get him to sell out. Read on.
So shalt thou and thine house be in the number of the king's friends. And thou and thy children shall be honored with silver and gold and many rewards.
So we said you're going to be in the number with the king's friends, meaning you're going to be in the upper echelon with the white folks. You know what I'm saying? At them dinners where y'all toasting champagne glasses. You know what I'm saying? And you and your kids going to have silver and gold, meaning what? Money. Money. So stop doing all that righteous Jew fight for the law stuff and go on and just humble down, join the white man. We going to make you successful. We going to put you in our playing field. Y'all see that? That's the American dream. That's what our young men, young women grow up to obtain. Riches from the white man, status from the white man. They tried to do our forefather the same way. Let's see how he responded, though. Read.
Verse 19. Then Mattathias answered and spake with a loud voice, though all the nations that are under the king's dominion obey him, and fall away everyone from the religion of their fathers, and give consent to his commandment, yet will I and my sons and my brethren walk in the covenant of our fathers.
Right, so he said, look, hey, I know y'all done got other people to sell out like that, but I ain't nothing like them. I'm going to stand 10 toes down keeping the Father's commandments. That's how y'all got to be. It's a lot. We done already had sellouts in Israel. You know what I'm saying? You see people on BBC, you know what I'm saying, national news, you know what I'm saying, trying to make it seem like we a cult because they sellouts. Our forefathers, they didn't get down like that. They didn't roll like that. They said, no, we not selling now. You know what I'm saying? The white man always tried to seduce us with a version of success for us. Our leaders back then understood that there's no success outside of the laws of God. All right? Let's go to Matthew 19, verse 21. So we pull this a lot at camp as far as the young man coming to Christ. What I got to do to get the kingdom of heaven? And Christ said, do what? Keep the commandments. So as we read on in this passage, he magnifying what the young man really need to work on, and that's loving his neighbor as he loves himself. And he exposed that he lacked that. Read what you got.
The book of Matthew, chapter 19 and verse 21. Jesus said unto him, if thou wilt be perfect, go and sell that thou hast, and give to the poor, and thou shalt have treasure in heaven, and come and follow me.
So look, he said, if you really want to be perfect, you want to do what it really take, sell your possessions and give it to the poor. So your people can be equal. We can have equal distribution amongst us. So you won't be usurped above your people as far as wealth. That's all you got to do, and come and follow me. Read on.
Verse 22. But when the young man heard that saying, he went away sorrowful, for he had great possessions.
So y'all see what stopped the young man from following Christ. He didn't want to let that stuff go. You know what I'm saying? That American dream. I don't want to give up my nice house, my nice car. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to give that stuff up. That's how they get you to sell out from your God and from your people. You understand? Many worldly possessions, they're going to lead to selfishness. Go to Revelation 3, verse 17. Revelation 3, verse 17.
The book of Revelation, chapter 3 and verse 17. Because thou sayest, I am rich.
Right, so you can say, cause this what like the Mayweathers, you know what I'm saying? The who else balling out of control in the world is Jake.
NBA young boy.
Jay-Z. He probably ain't got no money for it.
Never broke again.
Diddy. You know what I'm saying? People like that, 50 Cent. They would say, I'm rich. I got the bag. Read.
Because thou sayest, I am rich,
Uh-huh.
and increase with goods,
Uh-huh.
and have need of nothing.
I don't need what y'all trying to teach. No, I'm straight. I'm in my kingdom. Read.
And knowest not that thou art wretched, and miserable, and poor, and blind, and naked.
Right, you still really wretched. We twist that word and say it ratchet today. But that's what it is in the Bible, wretched. You still wretched, miserable, and poor, and blind, and naked. Why? Because it ain't no such thing as you being rich if your people poor. You can never rise above the state of your people. You understand? So you get rich not realizing your people still at the bottom, therefore you're not truly rich. So, you know what I'm saying? Okay, we know we curse. You know, we not thriving economically because we forgot our God. And a white man got this thing called the American dream trying to get you to sell out. So the question is, should we establish an economy in captivity? Should that be something we should try to do? You say get here, no? Should we establish an economy in captivity? No? Okay. Well, let's see. Let's go to Revelation 12, verse 17. So the class last week, right, was about what? What was the class about last week? Who remember? Persecution, right? So remember, I put the scripture, the devil got great what? It start with a W. Wrath, right? So what we teaching and what we doing for our people, that's above us getting money and doing turkey drives in the community and what these little rappers be thinking they be doing, something powerful. What we doing is way more of a threat than that. Y'all understand? So it's going to get above the police just pulling up saying we can't teach on that corner and all of that. It's going to go beyond that. Y'all understand? Read what you got.
Chapter 12 and what verse?
17.
Revelation chapter 12 and verse 17. And the dragon was wroth with the woman and went to make war.
Who is the dragon? Esau. Who is the woman? Israel. All right. Jeremiah 6 and 2 is the precept. Read.
And went to make war with the remnant of her seed.
So, the woman is Israel, right? The dragon, meaning Esau, went to make war with the remnant of the Israelites. That what?
Which keep the commandments of God.
Who is the remnant of the Israelites that keep the commandments? Who is that? Us. So it say Esau, your friendly neighborhood white man, gonna make war with you. He gonna make war with us. They go beyond the apologetics. And you know what I'm saying? It go beyond that. Say he gonna make war with us. Read.
And which keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus Christ.
Right, so Israel united in Christ. You know what I'm saying? The white man gonna make war with us. And it's bigger than just the scope of street teaching. Let's go to Zephaniah 2 verse 1. So in war, you know what I'm saying, knowing that you have an opposing force, what should we do? You know what I'm saying? Because when you read in the Old Testament, like when we had battles and stuff like that, like the prophets will be telling you, the way they'll say that we gonna lose is if they say, I seen the people scattered on the hills with no shepherd. You see what I'm saying? When the people scattered, they not unified, that's how you know we took a L. Y'all understand? So what should we do knowing that these folks gonna make war with us? Read what you got.
The book of Zephaniah, chapter 2 and verse 1. Gather yourselves together, yea, gather together, O nation not desired.
So God is commanding us. The nation that's not desired, that they want to make more war with, we need to gather ourselves together. And that's beyond just our physical bodies. We got to gather as a nation and put our minds and abilities together. Y'all understand? We have to put our minds and abilities together. From there, go to Ecclesiastes 7 and 12. So remember, war with the remnant that keep the command. They mean the remnant of Israel that's keeping the commandments have to be warriors. Every warrior has armor. You see what I'm saying? Different defense mechanisms. Let's see what one is. Read what you got.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7 and verse 12. For wisdom is a defense.
Right. Wisdom, first and foremost, we got to get in these scriptures. You know what I'm saying? We got to get our understanding. We got to learn who we are. That's our first ammo, first and foremost. Read.
And money is a defense.
And money also is a defense. Is a defense, because think about it. What if they just be like, look, every black Hebrew Israelite got to be terminated from their job tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? The decree go out amongst all the nations, fire every black Hebrew Israelite. Then what? Then what we gonna do? You see what I'm saying? So money is a defense. How we gonna look out for each other? How we gonna feed each other? You see what I'm saying? God said money is a defense. Read.
But the excellency of knowledge is that wisdom giveth life to them that have it.
Right. wisdom is going to give us life. Knowledge is going to give us life. But money is a defense mechanism. Y'all understand? From there, go to Sirach 29, verse 12.
The book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 29 and verse 12. Shut up alms in thy storehouses, and it shall deliver thee from all affliction.
Right. So remember, it said, curse shall be your basket in your store. We understand that we don't got no black banks, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. So as the remnant that's keeping the commandments, we put our minds and abilities together in righteousness. God said it can prosper. You know what I'm saying? We can actually have storehouses. You know what I'm saying? We got to build our arms up. That's why we got to see the vision beyond just this right here. Because when y'all give arms, y'all think y'all just paying to keep the heat on in here, the air on in here. You know what I'm saying? Make sure the lights stay on in here. No. They finna make war with us. Y'all see what I'm saying? We got to take the arms to another level. Y'all really got to understand the vision. Read.
Verse 13.
Uh-huh.
It shall fight for thee against thine enemies.
What the arms gonna do?
It shall fight for thee against thine enemies.
That's why I said money is a defense. That's gonna fight. It's gonna come in handy for us when these times get rougher and harder. You understand? Read.
Better than a mighty shield and a strong spear.
Right. So by us being able to be self-sufficient, you know what I'm saying, not having to depend on them for absolutely everything, that's going to hurt them. You know what I'm saying? That's going to defend us. From there, let's go to Acts 2, verse 44. Let's see if the apostles did this thing. Because remember, like we read last week, what was they going through? Start with a P. Persecution. Persecution. Let's see how they moved and operated, knowing, you know what I'm saying, it was going to be, Herod was going to start sending folks out to destroy us. Read what you got.
The book of Acts, chapter 2 and verse 44. And all that believed were together and had all things common, and sold their possessions and goods and parted them to all men as every man had
See
need.
how we was able to look out for each other and make sure everybody was straight? The stuff that we had in store, stored up, we was able to sell it and divide unto everybody to make sure everybody was sufficient. You see what I'm saying? That's how we move. We got to have the same mindset that a lot of us too damn selfish. We ain't renewed in the mind yet. You see what I'm saying? You're going to have to get up out of that. The Most High going to force us to get up out of that selfish mindset. Go to chapter 4, verse 34.
The book of Acts, chapter 4 and verse 34. Neither was there any among them that lacked, for as many as were possessors of lands or houses sold them, and brought the prices of the things that were sold, and laid them down at the apostles' feet.
Right, so that was part of what was going on in the church. It wasn't outside of the, the church regulation, operation, whatever. They brought it to the leadership. That's the level of trust and all of that we got to establish with one another. It's going to come to that, y'all. We really going to have to operate like that. Like we really all we got. It's no separate life outside of these doors. Right now, I know y'all thinking, okay, this is just my 1 day, 2 day a week thing. You know what I'm saying? I love y'all, but, I got a life. All right, the Most High going to really cause us to understand this is your life. You understand? They brought all their money that they got from selling their possessions and brought it to the apostles' feet. Read. Come on.
And brought the prices of things that were sold, and laid them down at the apostles' feet. And distribution was made unto every man according as he had need.
Right, so the church had to look out for each other. We was persecuted at the time, and persecution will come again. That's why I said this is a follow-up to last week. All right, so developing an economy. What is the first step to developing an economy? Let's go to Romans 12, verse 2. How do we develop an economy in captivity as his remnant that's keeping the commandments? Romans 12, verse 2.
The book of Romans, chapter 12 and verse 2. And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind.
We gotta really take on the mindset of our forefathers, just like we read in 1 Maccabees 2. A lot of us, man, I'm telling you, the white man come with a check, you know what I'm saying, a house already set up for you, you know what I'm saying, and a lot of people be like, take the hair wrap off, slide the fringes off, you know what I'm saying, and they'll ease into that life. You know what I'm saying? No, we got to be equipped. We got to be transformed in our mind. We got to become what God made us to be. We've been destroyed for over 400 years. We babies in this truth. You know what I'm saying? We really just now learning our true potential as a nation of people. So we got to manifest into that thing. We got to kill the old man, our old mindset. It got to go. Read.
That ye may prove what is that good, that acceptable and perfect will of God.
So if our minds ain't renewed through this Bible and we still operating like Negroes, ain't gonna be no damn economy for us in captivity. We ain't gonna be able to look out for each other. Just like Ananias and his wife in Acts 5, trying to finesse, you know what I'm saying, trying to steal from the body, you know what I'm saying, instead of bringing forth like everybody else did. They got exposed and they died. They gave up the ghost. You know what I'm saying? So from there, give me that link real quick. So if we not renewed in the mind, we still thinking like Negroes, Most High gonna get rid of you. It's a elect few that's gonna understand this stuff and really take on that mindset. But the ones that's in here with that Negro mindset really don't want to transform their mind, Most High gonna destroy you. All right. You got the link?
The one that intelligent.
The only link, the article. Yeah.
Can one of y'all read
So it's 6 factors that affect economic growth. Is that the title of this? Go scroll up to the title real quick. Yes. All right, 6 factors that affect economic growth. Now jump down. So the first one is natural resources. Write this stuff down, all right? Number 1, the first factor that affects economic growth is natural resources. Go down. The second one is physical capital or infrastructure. In other words, machinery, tools, and equipment, all right? Jump down. The third is population or labor, meaning bodies for work. You know what I'm saying? The amount of people to be able to put to work. Jump down. Human capital. This goes into skills, abilities, and training. Skills, abilities, and training. All right? We got to have the skills to build. Jump down. Technology. All right? Productivity, marketing, all of that. Jump down. And the 6th one, law. See, that's why the black economy ain't grew none, because a lot of them got the first 5. But they never understood you got to have the laws. The white man even understand that. It got to be rules and regulations in place dealing with economy, all right? So we going to dive in all of that. Let's deal with the first one, natural resources. The Bible call it the chief and principal things, all right? Let's go to Sirach 29:21.
The book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 29 and verse 21. The chief thing for life is water and bread and clothing and in house to cover shame.
Right. So before I just all the way dive into it, let me let y'all know this class is to provoke us, prepare us, get us ready. We not just gonna jump out the gate and be on this level yet, all right? This just to, you know what I'm saying, stir up y'all minds to provoke y'all to good works, you know what I'm saying? Believe it or not, this is stuff we really gonna have to live out. So the first chief thing it said is water. All right, let's deal with it. Genesis 26, verse 19. So, you know what I'm saying, we know we go to the faucet, get water, you know, pay the white man his little water bill and all of that. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, this is what our forefathers did. Genesis 26:19.
The book of Genesis, chapter 26 and verse 19. And Isaac's servants digged in the valley and found there a well of springing water.
Right. So they digged and found a well of springing water. Who knows somebody with a well in their yard? Right. 1, 2. Not too many, right? That ain't coming amongst our people. But Esau, you know what I'm saying, they be having them wells. You know what I'm saying? That's really getting your own water source out of the earth. Y'all understand? Our forefathers, that's what they got to the nitty gritty. They dig them a well. All right, go to Proverbs 5:15. So, even though, you know what I'm saying, Solomon, he really going into, you know, deal with your own nation of women. You know what I'm saying? But he used, you know, this analogy because it makes sense anyway on the surface level. Read what you got.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 5 and verse 15. Drink waters out of thine own cistern.
Do what?
Drink waters out of thine own cistern.
Uh-huh.
And running waters out of thine own well.
Out of your own well. Out of your own well. You know what I'm saying? So this is, like I said, this to provoke us to really try to establish our own. We don't know nothing about having our own. You see, we used to buying something at the store like this right here. This mine. I don't got it. No, this ain't yours. This is Brookshire's. You see what I'm saying? We not used to having our own. The Bible talks about us having our own. All right? Give me that link real quick. So, you know, something that, you know, I thought about, you know, recycling water bottles, learning to purify your own water. Who know how to purify your own water? David. Stand up. Like, what's something that we all can do to purify our water?
Well, the first thing you want to do is when you get the water, like let it run through some rocks to
Dang,
get.
your voice got 10 times deeper, dude. What the hell?
First thing you want to do.
Yeah, go ahead. Go
To get like
go
the
ahead.
to get like the trash and stuff out of there. Then after you get the trash out the water, you want to put that water in under some fire and boil it to get the germs and stuff out of it.
Right. So boiling it. All right, give me that that video, that little clip. So 3 simple ways to purify your own water instead of going to the store and buying a case of these every other day.
Water is one of the main substances required for any living being to survive. In order to stay alive, we need a constant source of clean drinking water. Nowadays, however, with overpopulation and pollution running rampant, it can be very hard for us to get a good clean supply of drinking water. But do not fear, there are ways one which can purify questionable water sources and make it safe enough for us to drink. Let's start with boiling water. Boiling water on a heat source properly can kill any bacteria and parasites that may be present in the water. This substantially reduces the odds of getting sick from drinking water. How to do this? It's quite simple. Let's start with simply pouring the water in a pot and placing it on a pot on a heat source like an open fire or a stove. Number 2, we bring the water to a rolling boil. When the bubbles begin to appear, it means that the water is starting to boil. But continue heating it until the water goes into a hard rolling boil and then start timing. Boil this water for about 10 minutes. Number 3, remove the pot from the heat source. Be careful not to burn yourself because the pot is going to be hot. Lastly, let the water sit, settle, and cool. You can't just start drinking water right after you finished boiling it. Let the water cool so it doesn't burn you while you drink it. Also, make sure to check the water for any foreign substances. You don't want to accidentally drink in something you don't want to. The next option is to use a water purifier. You can use these types of purifiers in conjunction with your tap water in the kitchen.
3-way? Yeah, okay. So that's like what the scriptures say, drink water out of your own cistern instead of going to the store. You spending all your money every other day on cases of water. you can boil your water, purify it like that. Y'all understand? All right. So Ecclesiastes 2 and 6. Boil. Ecclesiastes 2 and 6.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 2 and verse 6.
Uh-huh.
I made me pools of water.
Right, so this our forefather King Solomon. He said, I made me pools of water. He made his own place to store his own water. Read.
To water therewith the wood that bringeth forth trees.
And that's another reason why you would need water for your plants. You know what I'm saying? So our forefathers stored water for later use. All right? Let's deal with the next chief thing. Let's go to bread. Genesis 9, verse 2.
The book of Genesis, chapter 9 and verse 2. And the fear of you and the dread of you shall be upon every beast of the earth, and upon every fowl of the air, upon all that moveth upon the earth, and upon all the fishes of the sea. Into your hand are they delivered. Every moving thing that liveth shall be meat for you, even as the green herb have I given you all things.
Right, so we said the beast, you know what I'm saying, from basically this one, it was instituted for us to be able to eat, you know what I'm saying, certain seafood, certain animals and stuff like that. Because remember, at first in Genesis 1, he only gave us the herb-bearing seed that we can eat, right? So now we can now eat meat and herbs. This was after the flood. So meat and herbs, all right? Let's go to Genesis 29:28.
The book of Genesis, chapter 29 and verse 28.
No, Jeremiah. I'm sorry. That's Genesis. My bad. Jeremiah 29:28.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 29 and verse 28. For therefore he sent unto us in Babylon, saying, this captivity is long.
So how long was the Babylonian captivity? How long was it? Anybody know? Babylonian captivity was only 70 years. You know what I'm saying? That's long to us, but it really ain't that long. We in a much longer captivity. You know what I'm saying? So with us knowing that we in a captivity that's longer than that, read.
Build ye houses and dwell in them, and plant gardens.
Do what?
Plant gardens and eat the fruit of them.
So God giving instructions in captivity, you know what I'm saying, to plant gardens and eat the fruit that come from the gardens. All right, go to Ecclesiastes 2 and 5. Ecclesiastes 2 and 5.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 2 and verse 5. I made me gardens and orchards, and I planted trees in them of all kind of fruits.
Right, so he said Solomon made gardens and orchards and planted trees that grew all kind of fruits. So from oranges, the mangoes, the pineapples, apples. Man, just chill out. Relax, all right? They know what I'm saying. But he had all kind of fruits that he planted, you know what I'm saying, in his land. Let's go to 2 Samuel 13 and 8. So we had gardens and fruit trees to eat from, all right? 2 Samuel 13 and 8. This is something interesting, too, because, you know what I'm saying, my first time having a natural batch of bread that wasn't Wonder Bread was like last year. You know what I'm saying? My wife baked some bread. You know what I'm saying? I never had no natural batch of bread. You know what I'm saying? It was always, you know, the dollar bread at the stove. All right? Read what you got.
2 Samuel chapter 13 and verse 8. So Tamar went to her brother Ammon's house, and he was laid down, and she took flour.
She did what?
Took flour and netted it and made cakes in his sight and did bake the cakes.
Right, so we made, you know what I'm saying, our own bread. You know what I'm saying? Our women, y'all sisters, y'all can do that. Y'all can bake y'all own loaf in the oven. It's going to feel good knowing that you baked that loaf. You didn't buy it at the store with the expiration date and all of that. You know what I'm saying? We can bake our own bread. Go to Ecclesiastes 7:22. No, Sirach 7:22.
The book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 7 and verse 22. Hast thou cattle? Have an eye to them, and if they be for thy profit, keep them with thee.
So now we're going to deal with the cattle. The Bible encourages us to keep cattle. All right? What is cattle?
Like cows and
Right.
you know what I'm saying, bulls.
Right. Cattle. Don't sheep fall under that too? Jacob, help me out. Livestock. Right. So that, like, you know, the little animals and all of that we can eat, the lawful meat that we can eat. You know what I'm saying? We are encouraged to have cattle. Let's go to Proverbs 27 and 23. You know, we had a couple brothers, you know what I'm saying, that had, but you know, it's all praise. The Lord willing to declare, get them to repent, turn back. All right? Proverbs 27:23.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 27 and verse 23. Be thou diligent to know the state of thy
The
flocks.
same thing Sirach was saying. Make sure you keep an eye on your cattle. All right, read.
And look well to thy hands. For riches are not forever.
Gold and silver, money, paper, that ain't gonna last forever, read.
And doth the crown endure to every generation? The hay appeareth, and the tender grass showeth itself, and herbs of the mountains are gathered.
Watch this. Read.
The lambs are for thy clothing.
Right. So not only is it a food source, you know what I'm saying, but you know, wool. Wool comes from lamb, cattle. Y'all see that? You can get wool and make clothes, garments out of the animals that you raise. We don't know nothing about raising animals though. But that's what our forefathers did. Our foremothers did. Finish that verse.
And the goats are the price of thy field.
And the goats for the price of your field. Let's go to Ezekiel 27 and 17. So, you know what I'm saying? We literally had an economy. We were a trading power in the earth at one time. We had certain things that other nations came to us for, that we lended to them, that we traded with them. All right, read what you got.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 27 and verse 17. Judah and the land of Israel, they were thy merchants.
So in Ezekiel 27, he addressing, I believe, Tyre and Sidon. So he telling them that Judah was your merchants. You bought from Judah, read.
They traded in thy market wheat of Minnith.
So we traded certain wheats, read.
And Panag, and honey, and oil.
Right, so in past time, we created different foods and ointments and made trades with the nations. We had an economy. Y'all understand? So that's one of the chief things in life that we had and understood, and we had an economy developed with this stuff, all right? Let's deal with clothing, all right? Proverbs 31:13. Proverbs 31:13. So remember it said the lambs are for your clothing. You know what I'm saying? They go into it too, you know, the wool and stuff like that. Proverbs 31:13.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 31 and verse 13. She seeketh wool and flax.
She do what?
She seeketh wool and flax.
Right, so flax is going into linen. You know what I'm saying? This is talking about a righteous, a virtuous woman. Don't all y'all want to be virtuous women? Huh? Hey, man, y'all wild on. Do y'all want to be virtuous women? Okay, I'll pray to the Most High. See, they know because they don't want to seek the wool in the flax. It said a virtuous woman going to seek wool and flax, read.
And worketh willingly with her hands.
She going to work willingly with that wool and flax linen to create clothes. Jump to verse 21.
Verse 21. She is not afraid of the snow for her household. For all her household are clothed
right,
with scarlet.
So she ain't afraid of the weather getting cold because she got sweaters and jackets sold up for the crib. You know what I'm saying? She got it sold up, literally. All right, read on.
Verse 22.
Uh-huh.
She maketh herself coverings of tapestry.
Uh-huh.
Her clothing is silk and purple.
Jump down to 24.
Verse 24. She maketh fine linen.
She does what?
Maketh fine linen.
She makes fine linen from the flax. Read.
And selleth it.
And do what?
Selleth it.
So she bringing something to the table. You know what I'm saying? She a housewife that still work. Interesting. She's creating income for the household by using the natural resources, making linen and selling it. Read on.
And delivereth girdles unto the
To
merchant.
the store. So she the plug to the store that sell clothes. We can do that. All right, from there. Acts 9, verse 39. So our women made our clothes, and it was profitable for business. Let's go to Acts 9:39.
The book of Acts, chapter 9 and verse 39. Then Peter arose and went with them. When he was come, they brought him into the upper chamber, and all the widows stood by him weeping and showing the coats and garments which Dorcas made while she was with them.
Right, so this is still in captivity and subjection to the Romans. All of that. Our foremothers in the church made coats and garments. You know what I'm saying? They missed this sister so because she passed. You know what I'm saying? They missed her so much based off the coats and garments she made for the body that they, you know what I'm saying, they had Peter to pray for, and he brought her back to life. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Tabitha. You know what I'm saying? That's a mighty, where you at? Is she in here? Yeah, there she go. That's a mighty name to take on now. You know what I'm saying? Where them coats and garments at? You heard me? I need me one. All right, let's deal with house, because it said water, bread, clothing, in a house to cover shame. Let's go to Sirach 29:22. Sirach 29:22.
The book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 29 and verse 22. Better is the life of a poor man in a mean cottage than delicate fare in another man's house.
So we know, like, on the surface level, of course, you know what I'm saying, you actually having to live with somebody else. But, for example, right now, you know what I'm saying, I'm living in a house. It's mine, me and my family, right? But guess who I pay every month? The real owner. You see what I'm saying? The landlord. That's really, in actuality, another man's house. You see what I'm saying? That I don't own it. It's not my own. So we ought to be provoked to actually buy houses, own property. You see what I'm saying? Read on. Be it
little or much, hold thee contented, that thou hear not the reproach of thy house.
Read.
Verse 24. For it is a miserable life to go from house to house.
Don't you hate when a lease up and you gotta do all that packing? You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
Having to move your kids, gotta switch schools. You know what I'm saying? Cause you renting, you leasing. You know what I'm saying? Going from house to house. Nobody enjoys that. Read.
For where thou art a stranger, thou darest not open thy mouth.
You very limited on what you can and can't do if you renting from somebody. You don't own that property. So it's only so much you can do. All right, from there. Let's go to Sirach 36:26.
The book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 36 and verse 26. Who will trust a thief well appointed, that skippeth from city to city? So, who will believe a man that hath no house?
Y'all see that? So just like don't nobody trust a thief, they go from here to there, you know what I'm saying, trying to get what he can and dip out. So do they not trust a man that does not have his own house? Read.
And lodgeth wheresoever the night taketh him.
So men, that should provoke you to get you a what? A house. A house. All right, go to Jeremiah 29, verse 4. So not only get you a house, you know what I'm saying, but God use a word one of my favorite words in the English language. And it starts with a B. All right? 29 verse 4.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 29, in verse 4. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, unto all that are carried away captives.
That are what?
Carried away captives.
So them that are in captivity, read.
Whom I have caused to be carried away from Jerusalem unto Babylon.
Guess what? Go ahead.
Build ye houses.
Do what?
Build ye houses.
Build ye houses. In captivity. You can do it. I know the white man taught you, you know what I'm saying? You get enticed by the, you see the nice apartments and the, you know what I'm saying, the pool and the whatever the hell, however they entice us to move into that stuff. But God instructs us to build in our captivity. Build ye houses, read.
And dwell in them.
And dwell in the houses that you build. Read.
And plant gardens and eat the fruit of them.
Right. So, yes, we are advised to build our homes in captivity. All right. Let's deal with some other principal things real quick. Sirach 39:26. Get that real quick. Sirach 39:26.
The book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 39 and verse 26. The principal things for the whole use of man's life are water, fire, iron, and salt, flour of wheat, honey, milk, and the blood of the grape, and oil, and clothing.
So now we throw some other, natural resources, principal things in life out there. So we're going to deal with milk. Let's go to Proverbs 27, verse 27. Let's deal with milk. Milk. Read what you got.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 27 and verse 27.
Mm-hmm.
And thou shalt have goat's milk enough for thy food, for the food of thy household, and for the maintenance for thy maidens.
So this cow milk is there. This is really a new thing in the earth for the Israelites. We was always meant to drink what kind of milk? Goat milk. Give me the clip real quick. We ain't gonna play all of it.
Brother said rice milk.
Huh?
Hi everybody, I'm Brad.
And I'm Krista.
From the Big Family Homestead, and in this video we're going to show you, or rather Mamacita is going to show you how to deal with your goat's milk. Once you've milked your goat, you can't just drink it out of the zipple. No, you can't do that. It's you got to do stuff. So she's going to show you what to do with your goat's milk so you can consume it safely.
Right.
Amen.
Yeah. So as Brad, the goofball, said, you can't just drink the goat's milk straight out of the zipple, I think. I think the correct term is teat. However, that's okay. So there's a process that you have to go through to get the milk drinkable. So here's what we have. We have a bucket of some ice water. We have our goat's milk in here. You have a sterile jar.
Some of y'all probably already got all this.
A filter
stuff
and one of those reusable coffee filters. I really like the way that sits in there nicely. And then a paper coffee filter. You can buy these fancy filters and they're just really expensive, and you got to do things kind of cheap here. So, and that's okay. So what you got to do is you got ice water. Fill that up. So the reason for the ice water is so that you can cool your goat's milk down really, really fast. Otherwise, it's just gonna get that goaty taste and not taste very good, unless you like that goaty taste. But so this is our milk bucket here. I'm just gonna talk to you about this a little bit. I used a old bucket before, and then I decided to milk right into the jars. Well, that took a lot of work and sterilizing those, and well, I decided instead of buying one of those expensive milk buckets that have the flip lid and all that jazz, I'd make my own. So I bought one of these buckets at Walmart for about $8, and then I had Brad cut this lid out for me, and then I keep some plastic on there so that I can pull this plastic back and milk straight into this sterile bucket or pot, and then when I need to get more milk out of her, I close this plastic up and it doesn't allow any hair or dirt to get into the bucket, and it keeps it pretty clean.
All right, so
Okay.
all right, so y'all get the look. The title is "How to Process Goat's Milk." You know what I'm saying? It didn't get all the way into it, you know, but y'all go watch it on your own because it is very, you know what I'm saying, enlightening, educational, all of that. All right, don't let Esau despicableness deter you from, you know what I'm saying, learning these things, okay? All right, so give me 1 Corinthians 9:7. Let's see what the Apostle Paul said. He was making a point, but just like Solomon, you know what I'm saying, it's an analogy. So what he's saying on the surface is valid anyway, all right? 1 Corinthians 9:7.
The book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 9 and verse 7. Who goeth a warfare any time at his own charges? Who planteth a vineyard and eateth not the fruit thereof?
So who would plant a vineyard, plant grapes and all of that, and not eat the fruit of it? Who would do that? An insane psycho person, right? What's the point of putting in all that work? You ain't gonna eat the fruit from it, right? Read on.
Or who feedeth a flock and eateth not of the milk of the flock?
This brother right here, now I ain't gonna call you out, bruh, but you had brothers that had goats.
Damn.
It did not eat the milk of the flock. I said,
bruh.
what the hell?
Hey, bro, I had people in my ear say, "Oh no, goat's milk, don't drink that."
See, and you should have Bible. You know what I'm saying? Hey, God be true, every man. Right. All right. So the Bible encourages us to eat the milk of our own flock. All right, let's deal with the blood of the grape, wine. Let's go to Proverbs 31:16. This was another principal thing that was mentioned in Sirach. 39:26, the blood of the grape.
He said Proverbs 31 and 16?
Yes, sir.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 31 and verse 16. She considereth a field and buyeth it. With the fruit of her hands she planteth a vineyard.
Right, so a virtuous woman, you know what I'm saying, a virtuous Israelite woman will plant a vineyard. You know what I'm saying? So our women dealt with vineyards as well. Just like we read about Solomon, our women planted vineyards, all right? Let's go to Nehemiah 13:15. So even though, you know what I'm saying, we was messing up and doing this stuff on the Sabbath, this just shows us that dealing with wine was always a lucrative business for the Israelites, all right? Read what you got.
The book of Nehemiah, chapter 13 and verse 15. In those days saw I in Judah some treading the wine presses on the Sabbath, and bringing in sheaves, and lading asses, as also wine, grapes and figs, and all manner of burdens.
Right, so the wine and the grapes and all that came from vineyards, all right? Read.
Which they brought into Jerusalem on the Sabbath day.
Right, so we was breaking the damn Sabbath, but, you know what I'm saying, we was making money. So it just goes to show, like I said, that wine was always a lucrative business for the Israelites, but don't break the Sabbath. All right, don't do that. All right, so now let's deal with the next factor that affects economic growth, physical capital. Let's go to Deuteronomy 24, verse 6. So this going into tools/machinery, all right? Because you can't do all of this stuff without tools. Let's see how our forefathers valued tools back then.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 24 and verse 6. No man shall take the nether or the upper millstone to pledge.
Right. So the pledge mean somebody promised you something or whatever, and you they got to give you something to hold on to till they fulfill their promise. So he said, when it comes to the millstone, you can't take that to pledge. Why? Read.
For he taketh a man's life.
He does what?
Taketh a man's life to pledge.
So it shows that our life depended on our tools. Y'all understand? You take that man millstone, what you use to grind meal and all of that, you taking his life. That's how important our lives depended on our tools. Everybody understand? So that's a very important thing. Let's deal with the next factor that affects economic growth: population or labor, meaning bodies for work. Let's go to Jeremiah 29, verse 6. So, brothers really been in the spirit, you know what I'm saying? You know, I be seeing every other week a different sister pop up with a you know, a little pokage in the belly area, you know what I'm saying? But it don't be blubber. You could tell it's a child in there. You know what I'm saying? Because we need to do that. We need to reproduce. All right, so brothers been in the spirit. All right, read what you got.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 29 and verse 6. Take ye wives and beget sons and daughters.
So in captivity, get married and have kids. Good job. I'll pray to the Most High. Yeah, Lord, pray for me. Read.
And take wives for your sons.
And when you raise your kids, make sure your sons get married. Do the same thing. Read.
And give your daughters to husbands.
Now, I know you're going to hate that, bro. But you know we got to do it. You know, it is what it is. But you know, you got little Zion, Samuel, you know, little Nehemiah. You know what I'm saying? You watching them grow up from, so you'll be able to give them away with. You know what I'm saying? All right. Read on.
That they may bear sons and daughters, that ye may be increased there and not diminished.
Right, so we have to embrace families in captivity. We have to grow and multiply, just like we did in Egypt. All right, let's go to Sirach 16, verse 1. But, all right, but, B-U-T, this right here. Read what you got.
The book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 16 and verse 1. Desire not a multitude of unprofitable children.
But don't be having a whole bunch of kids, you know what I'm saying, that's invaluable, you know what I'm saying, that's going to turn their back on the truth, not hearken, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. That's why it's important to teach your children, all right, because you don't want a whole bunch of unprofitable little kids running around. Read.
Neither delight in ungodly sons. Though they multiply, rejoice not in them, except the fear of the Lord be with them.
Only rejoice in your kids if they got the fear of the Lord on them. Read.
Verse 3. Trust not thou in their life, neither respect their multitude. For one that is just is better than 1,000. And better it is to die without children than to have them that are ungodly.
So make sure you're raising godly children, because we need all the bodies. But if they unprofitable, if they don't fear the Most High God, they really just going to hinder the nation. So make sure we raising godly kids in this thing, all right? Let's go to Luke 10, verse 2. And this is what we got to do for the brothers and sisters that's already out here. You know what I'm saying? This is what we got to pray for. Luke 10, verse 2.
The book of Luke, chapter 10 and verse 2. Therefore said he unto them, the harvest truly is great, but the laborers are few.
So notice the prophets, including Jesus Christ himself, always used analogies dealing with growing crops, you know what I'm saying, feeding livestock, stuff like that, because that was coming. That's something that we vividly understood, you know what I'm saying, back then, because we was living that life. We got to be transformed by the renewing of our mind. We got to be renewed in this type of knowledge. But notice he said the harvest is plenty, but the laborers are few. Read.
Pray ye therefore the Lord of harvest, that he would send forth laborers into his harvest.
So pray for more laborers to come into this truth. You know what I'm saying? I literally pray this thing. I'm pretty sure just about every time I pray for more laborers, man, because it's a lot of work to be done. You know what I'm saying? So let's deal with the next factor that affects economic growth: human capital, meaning skilled and able men and women, people that got skills and talents. Let's go to Exodus 31, verse 3.
The book of Exodus, chapter 31 and verse 3. And I have filled him with the Spirit of God, in wisdom, and in understanding, and in knowledge, and in all manner of workmanship.
In all manner of workmanship. Let's see what this workmanship is going into. Read.
To devise cunning works,
Uh-huh.
to work in gold, and in silver, and in brass.
Right. I forgot the term for that. Where one of the twins at? They're not in here. I forgot the term for that. We're dealing with, blacksmith. Right. So he had the Spirit, the Holy Spirit of God on him to be a blacksmith. You see what I'm saying? That's how you know this stuff is meant for us to establish in captivity or be able to do. Because the Lord put the Spirit on men to do this stuff, right?
Verse 5.
Uh-huh.
And in cutting of stones, to set them, and in carving of timber.
And in carving of timber, woodwork. What's the proper term for that?
A lumberjack?
Lumberjack. Right. Read. To
work in all manner of workmanship.
So the Most High was dealing with their brother, all right, and cutting up stones, and all of that. So we need builders, welders, carpenters, brick masons, all of that, all right. From there, go to Ecclesiastes 2 verse 7. You know, can't none of this stuff get done without workers, all right. People that's up to the task. Read what you got.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 2 and verse 7. I got me servants and maidens, and had servants born in my house. Also I had great possessions of great and small cattle, above all that were in Jerusalem before me.
So with all the resources and all the cattle and riches and all that Solomon had, he had to have servants. He had to have workers. All right, let's go to 1 Kings 9 verse 22. 1 Kings 9 verse 22. So even dealing with our own people, how many of y'all like working for the white man? How many of y'all would prefer to work for your brother in the truth? All right then, you know what I'm saying? So Most High gonna put the Spirit on some brothers to boss up and, you know what I'm saying, get their brothers some jobs. All right, there's some brothers in Israel already doing this thing. But read what you got.
The book of 1 Kings, chapter 9 and verse 22. But of the children of Israel did Solomon make no bondmen.
Right, so he didn't make the children of Israel slaves. Read.
But they were men of war,
Uh-huh.
and his servants.
And his what?
And his servants.
Right, so the servants wasn't always the other nations. That was the bondmen, the slaves. But us, we were servants, really modern day term employees. All right, we worked for Solomon, got wages. Read.
And his princes, and his captains, and rulers of his chariots,
Uh-huh.
and his horses.
So he had all these different occupations and offices that had to be fulfilled. So brothers had to be able to fulfill all these different things. They had to have these different skills. Go to Acts 6 verse 1. Back to the church. Acts chapter 6 verse 1.
The book of Acts, chapter 6, in verse
1.
1. And in those days when the number of the disciples was multiplied, there arose a murmuring of the Grecians against the Hebrews.
Right, so the Grecians, when you read the Zondervan Bible Dictionary, it's the Greek-speaking Jews, so don't get confused. All right? You know what I'm saying? But they was a little bit, you know, they was new. We just now started dealing with them like that, you know what I'm saying, after Christ. So they was murmuring against the Hebrews. The Hebrews, you know, the first disciples and all of that was Hebrews. You know what I'm saying? They knew who they were. So they was in the leadership roles. So they murmured against them. Read.
Because their widows were neglected in the daily ministration.
Right, you read about the daily ministration in 1 Timothy chapter 5. So their widows was neglected. You know what I'm saying? So they was getting on to the leadership about that. All right, read.
Then the 12 called the multitude of the disciples unto them.
So they had a council. Read.
And said, it is not reason that we should leave the word of God and serve tables.
Right, so I know, you know, they got to be done. They got to be taken care of. You know, their job has to be filled. But we got work to do. We got to prophesy. You know what I'm saying? We got to go hit the streets. Read.
Verse 3.
Uh-huh.
Wherefore, brethren, look ye out among you 7 men of honest report.
So look, find 7 brothers of honest report. Read.
full of the Holy Ghost
Uh-huh.
and wisdom, whom we may appoint over this business.
Who we may appoint over this job, task, office. Y'all understand? So they had to hire 7 men to be able to fulfill their daily ministration that had what it take while they went and taught the word of God. All right, so diligent brothers are needed. Let's deal with the next one, technology. Let's go to 1 Corinthians 7:31. We went over this last night, or we touched on it. You know, because a lot of people be, man, scriptures be getting butchered, you know, a lot. But let's deal with technology, all right?
The book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 7 and verse 31.
Uh-huh.
And they that use this world.
Now, you know what I'm saying? You could be a technician in Israel and stuff like that, but for the most part, the Most High done put the spirit on Esau to create all of these, you know what I'm saying, stuff that I can be talking to you right now, Jeremy, and be like, look, I'm thinking about going and buying a 05 Nissan, you know what I'm saying, next week. And then I get on my phone later on the night, and I having ads full of, you know, different Nissans popping up. You know what I'm saying? That the white man and his technology is mind-blowing. You know what I'm saying? But guess what? We got to use that to our advantage. You understand? We need people to be trained up and really understand how to use the white man's technology. But we don't.
As not abusing
But don't abuse it. Some people, they get caught up in that stuff. They put their stuff above the work of the Most High. All right? You know what I'm saying? You got video game freaks and people that can't get their face out their phone, social media, all of that. No, we don't need you to be a professional geek. You know what I'm saying? If we need you to learn technology and all of that stuff to further the nation. All right? Did I feel about it? Okay, I'll pray. It got awkwardly quiet when I said that. We good? I can say geek? All right. All praise to the Most High. All right, so let's deal with the next thing, law. The last factor that affects economic growth, law, going into rules and regulations. Let's go to 1 Peter 2, verse 13.
The book of 1 Peter, chapter 2 and verse 13. Submit yourselves to every ordinance of man for the Lord's sake, whether it be to the king as supreme.
Right, so what is Peter letting us know? Somebody, what is it talking about? Anyone? Samson.
My bad. It's saying obey the law.
Obey the law.
Even if the white man has laws and rules and regulations, if they have control over the land, obey those as well.
So obey the laws of...
The laws of the land, my
right,
bad.
okay, all right. All praise to the Most High. So obey the laws of the land. So whenever we dealing and doing these things, we got to keep the white man's laws in mind. There's certain rules and regulations dealing with when you got land, when you trying to dig a well, you know what I'm saying? All this different stuff, we got to be mindful. So whenever you getting yourself into this different stuff, you interested, do your research, make sure you not violating the ordinances set up by Esau. All right? Let's go to Deuteronomy 24, verse 19. So it's laws in the Bible, you know what I'm saying, that talk about when we grow stuff, you know, when we actually do what our forefathers did. It's laws in place. Now, you know, certain stuff, you know, we might not be able to fully execute within our homeland, but, I mean, outside of our homeland, but, you know, all scripture is profitable for doctrine, all right? Deuteronomy 24, verse 19.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 24 and verse 19. When thou cuttest down thine harvest in thy field, and hast forgot a sheaf in the field, thou shalt not go again to fetch it. It shall be for the stranger, for the fatherless, and for the widow.
Right. So when you get your harvest, say you collected what you could, and you know what I'm saying, by the time you left, it was some stuff you left behind. God said, nope, don't go back looking for it. Leave that for the poor amongst your people. Read.
That the Lord thy God may bless thee in all the work of thine hands.
Read.
When thou beatest thine olive tree, thou shalt not go over the boughs again. It shall be for the stranger, for the fatherless, and for the widow.
Read.
When thou gatherest the grapes of thy vineyard, thou shalt not glean it afterward. It shall be for the stranger, for the fatherless, and for the widow.
So we had to be charitable and leave spare of our increase for our less fortunate people. Y'all understand? Y'all understood what the scriptures was saying? All right, let's go to Leviticus 19, verse 19. So we talked about livestock. We talked about growing, planting seeds and all of that. And sowing. This is a law pertaining to that. Read what you got.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 19 and verse 19. Ye shall keep my statutes. Thou shalt not let thy cattle gender with a diverse kind.
That's talking about crossbreeding. God said, nope, can't do it. Read. Come on.
Thou shalt not sow thy field with mingled seed.
Right, you can't intertwine the seeds and stuff like that and grow strange fruits. Read.
Neither shall a garment mingled of linen and woolen come upon thee.
Right, so you know this, a lot of people don't fully understand that, but you can have a garment with wool and linen on it. You cannot intertwine the fabrics when you're sewing it together. Everybody understand? Like you can have a leather jacket with a patch of cotton or whatever, but you cannot intertwine the two different fabrics. Y'all get it? Yes, sir. All right. Deuteronomy 14:21. Another law pertaining to livestock.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 14 and verse 21. Ye shall not eat of anything that dieth of itself.
Right, so if one of your animals die and you don't know the cause, it just died of itself, you cannot eat it. You cannot broil it. You cannot seethe it. You cannot bake it. You cannot eat it. Read.
Thou shalt give it unto the stranger that is in thy gates.
But you can give it to the other nations. Read.
That he may eat it, or thou mayest sell it unto an alien.
You can sell it, get some money from the other nations. But not your folks, though. Why? Read.
For thou art an holy people unto the Lord.
We different, we separate. We can't be eating stuff that died without the cause being known and stuff like. We can't. Our temple is the Lord's, but the other nations, we can make that money. Read.
Thou shalt seethe a kid in his mother's.
Thou shalt not.
Thou shalt not seethe a kid in his mother's milk.
Right, so you can't cook a goat when it's too young. All right, let's go to Leviticus 25, verse 2. Say it all right.
Hey, they got at the store where you can buy. I forgot what it's called. It's called it's where you can buy a goat that is a baby. It's famous. I'm trying to figure out one of y'all know. Because they sell it at the store. You would think I'm buying some meat. It's cheap. It's on sale. But you really breaking the laws of God.
So be mindful of that. All right. Leviticus 25 and 2.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 25 and verse 2. Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, when ye come into the land which I give you, then shall the land keep a Sabbath unto the Lord. 6 years thou shalt sow thy field, and 6 years thou shalt prune thy vineyard, and gather in the fruit thereof. But in the 7th year shall be a Sabbath of rest unto the land, a Sabbath for the Lord. Thou shalt neither sow thy field nor prune thy vineyard.
Right, so you can get it in and, put in your work in your land for 6 years, but on that 7th year, you had to give the land a break. You had to let it rest. You had to do a whole year's Sabbath for your land. Esau do not do that at all. You know what I'm saying? Like, my route on FedEx, when I was just working at FedEx, I was in the country every day. I saw, all the equipment they had and all of that. Like, they forced stuff to be grown year in, year out, and they do not give their land rest at all. That's why this people be thinking they just eating super healthy and all of that. Nah, bro, they putting chemicals in the ground to make this stuff grow. But it is better than the processed meats and all of that. So, not discouraging the vegan vegetarian thing, but you know what I'm saying? Like Esau, they do not apply this law. Without this law being applied, the whole system of crops being properly grown out of the earth is deterred. All right.
Hey, real quick, cause it's heavy you saying that because I used to deal with the farmers and stuff, and one of the things they do, y'all probably notice this too, that they burn after they finish, they burn the ground to try to bring back the nutrients that was taken out. So when they grow it so much, they grow it nonstop every year. That's why we read Ezekiel, 4:13. They started being defiled because the nutrients that's in the ground is being tainted with now. Because now they speeding up the process to grow it every year because it's in demand. So that's what he's talking about right there.
All praise to the Most High. Yeah, they had to put burn bans out in different counties and all that because they was doing it too much. All right, let's go to Deuteronomy 22 and verse 8. This is a law we really don't. A lot of us probably not aware of this thing at all, but this goes with build ye houses. When we build our houses, this was a law that God put in the Bible, in a particular instruction. Read what you got.
22 and what, sir?
8.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 22 and verse 8. When thou buildest a new house, then thou shalt make a battlement for thy roof.
Right, a battlement for your roof, going into a border that you build on your roof. Read.
That thou bring not blood upon thy house, if any man fall from thence.
Right, so must see how kind the Most High is. He said, look, when you build a house, make sure you build a fence on your roof. So if anybody on your roof for any reason, they don't fall and die, hurt themselves, injure themselves. So that's a law. You build a house, you keep that in mind. All right, the battlement on your roof. That is a law. All right. Deuteronomy 24:14. So dealing with people that you hire, workers and stuff like that, this is something as well to keep in mind. Now, we're not familiar with this at all in America. The white man, boy, he make you wait. He make you suffer for the check. But God, his economy don't work like that. Read what you got.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 24 and verse 14. Thou shalt not oppress an hired servant that is poor and needy, whether he be of thy brethren or of the strangers that are in thy land within thy gates. At his day thou shalt give him his hire, neither shall the sun go down upon it.
What does that mean? At that day you shall give him his hire, and you cannot let the sun go down upon it. Just Sharon.
You gotta pay him like when he get through working for that day.
Right, so what's that called? With same day pay.
Yeah.
Same day pay. Read on. Finish it.
For he is poor and setteth his heart upon it.
Right, we depending on that money. You know what I'm saying? Some people that had to do cash advances, all of that to get money they already worked for. That they said you can't get it to the 29th. You can't get it to the 8th. You can't get it to the 12th. You see what I'm saying? God said our hearts depending on that thing. Read.
Lest he cry against thee unto the Lord, and it be sin unto thee.
Right, so if we move like that and we don't pay each other, you know what I'm saying, and send our prayer to the Lord, Most High do you something bad if you ain't, you oppressing your neighbor. You ain't paying him his wages for that day. So same day pay was enforced under the laws of God. Y'all understand? All right, so those are the 6, things or factors that affect economic growth. And it's all in the Bible. All right? So that means the oracles of God committed unto us, we are capable with applying these scriptures to develop our own economy in captivity. Y'all understand? Y'all agree?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll pray to the Most High. So we just going to deal with some words of wisdom to close us out pertaining to all of this stuff. Let's go to Proverbs 12, verse 9.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 12 and verse 9. He that is despised and hath a servant is better than he that honoreth himself and lacketh bread.
Right, so it says he that's despised, meaning don't nobody like him, but he got somebody working for him, is better than somebody that exalt themselves and don't have no workers. You know what I'm saying? He lacking bread. So, you know what I'm saying? Oh, did I read it again? Yeah, that's what it's saying. So it's better than he that honoreth himself and lacketh bread. So you want to be somebody that's able to have some people working for you. Some people, they so jacked up in the mind, you know what I'm saying, don't nobody want to work for them. You got to keep that stuff in mind, you know what I'm saying? When you got business, you got many different things to take care of and all of that. You want people that's willing to work for you. You know what I'm saying? Because without that, you're going to lack bread. All right, read on.
Verse 10. A righteous man regardeth the life of his beast.
Just like we read in Proverbs 27, he keep an eye out for his flock because it's profitable to him. All right, he regard the life of his beast. Read.
But the tender mercies of the wicked are cruel.
Right, they mistreat and abuse they livestock. We can't do that. Read.
Verse 11. He that tilleth his land shall be satisfied with bread.
This going to properly preparing your land to grow crops. One thing that Jake Block people despise is preparation. All right, you can't just jump into the game, just throw seeds in the ground. No, you got to till your ground. It got to be prepared. It got to be, you know what I'm saying, properly prepared to grow. Read.
But he that followeth vain persons is void of understanding.
Right, you listen to people that telling you not to do what the Bible is telling you to do. You know what I'm saying? You void of understanding. All right, let's go to Ecclesiasticus, Sirach 7 and verse 15. So if you a boss, you're going to need employees. Make sure you take care of your flock and prepare your land for your crops. Solomon gave us the game on that, all right? Sirach 7 and verse 15.
The book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 7 and verse 14.
15.
Hate not laborer's work.
Do what?
Hate not laborer's work.
Because this class, it might have been grievous to a lot of y'all. Like, it might have been to do no processing goat milk, you know what I'm saying, wool and flax and making, come on, it might have been do that. God said, not me. God said, don't hate laborer's work. That's what it take to build a nation. Key word, build. Build is labor. To build is labor. He said, be in labor and pain to bring forth. Oh, Zion. Y'all understand? So God said, don't hate laborers' work. Read.
Neither husbandry.
Right. What is husbandry? What is husbandry? Zach. Right, dealing with gardens, farming, and stuff like that. So he said, don't despise that. We familiarize farming with Esau and all of that. So we don't know nothing about that. But that's come from us. We was farmers. We was a nation of farmers, all right? So don't despise that thing, read.
Which the Most High hath ordained.
In Genesis, with Adam, he ordained. He said, look, curse shall be, what he said, the sweat of your brow. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have to work in that field. So God ordained that thing. You understand? Go to Proverbs 3, verse 9.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 3 and verse 9.
So when you get to growing these crops and all of that, you know, fruits busting out the garden in the backyard and all that, do what you need to remember, read.
Honor the Lord with thy substance, and with the first fruits of all thine increase.
So honor the Lord with your first fruits of your increase. This literal. Read.
So shall thy barns be filled with plenty, and thy presses shall burst out with new wine.
Right, the Most High gonna bless what you growing, what you know what I'm saying, trying to develop. All right, so I suggest bringing your first fruits to the congregation and, charity or whatever before storing them for yourself or conducting business, all right? The first fruits that grow, bring them to the body. Let's feast with them. Let's, you know what I'm saying, stuff like that, all right? Let's go to Malachi 3, verse 10.
The book of Malachi, chapter 3 and verse 10. Bring ye all the tithes unto the storehouse, that there may be meat in mine house, and prove me now herewith, said the Lord of hosts, if I will not open you the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing, that there shall not be room enough to receive it.
Right, so, man, the Christian church butchered this so much. You know what I'm saying? You sow your seed with the tithes, and the Most High gonna pour out a blessing from the sky. No. Where's the windows of heaven talking about? What come from the windows of heaven? Just rain. It's talking about rain for your what? For your crop to grow. All right? Read on.
Verse 11. And I will rebuke the devourer for your sakes.
The devourer is going into the different bugs and locusts or whatever that'll eat up your crops. God said he'll stop them from, destroying your stuff. Read.
And he shall not destroy the fruits of your ground, neither shall your vine cast her fruit before the time in the field, said the Lord of hosts.
Right. So the Most High said he'll preserve our crops. You know what I'm saying? If we properly stored our tithes in the storehouses for its correct uses, you know what I'm saying, not to be abused by anybody, you know what I'm saying, like in particular it's talking about the priests, the leadership, the people that taught our laws to our people was taking the people's tithes and abusing that thing, using it for their own benefit. The Lord said, no, switch that around, do it the right way, and I'm going to bless y'all crops. All right, so let's deal with the conclusion. Let's go to Galatians 6, verse 9. So we went over the 6 factors. We went over some words of wisdom dealing with all this stuff. So now we're going to get to the conclusion, the whole wrapping up of this class today. Galatians 6, verse 9.
The book of Galatians, chapter 6 and verse 9. And let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not.
Read it one more time.
And let us not be weary in well-doing.
Let us not get tired when it come to well-doing. Read.
For in due season we shall reap if we faint not.
Right, so be patient. The journey is long and hard, but it will pay off. You know what I'm saying? If you really was provoked, you know what I'm saying? The Spirit was speaking to you, all these things in the Bible. You learn that we ought to be doing this stuff in captivity. Just know when you start doing it, you ain't going to have strawberries next week. You know what I'm saying? You ain't going to have watermelons, at the gate next month. Like, no, it's a long journey, but you work hard, you be patient, it's going to pay off. We going to reap the results. You understand? All right, from there, Hebrews 13, verse 14.
The book of Hebrews, chapter 13 and verse 14. For here have we no continuing city.
Right, so we understand that Babylon gonna burn, you know what I'm saying? But so did the ancient Babylon, you know what I'm saying? We got took up out of there in 70 years, but the Most High still said, build houses, plant gardens, get married, have kids, all of that. So we got to remember that too. Yeah, we understand that this finna burn. This ain't our kingdom. It's not. It never will be. Read.
But we seek one to come.
So we ain't gonna be here forever, but we have to be sustained here. All right? And like I said, he gonna make war with the remnant that keep the commandments. So Most High gonna force us to unify in different ways beyond just keeping the Sabbath together. You understand? Yes, sir. All right, from there, Matthew 6, verse 31.
The book of Matthew, chapter 6 and verse 31. Therefore, take no thought, saying, what shall we eat? Or what shall we drink? Or wherewithal shall we be clothed? For after all these things do the Gentiles seek. For your heavenly Father knoweth that ye have need of all these things.
Right, so the Most High know, you know what I'm saying? We need all these resources. We need all these different abilities and talents and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? The Gentiles, they devote their whole life. The other nations, this is their bread and butter, their life. Our life, first and foremost, is what? The commandments of God. You know what I'm saying? That's the first defense. That's the first weapon of our warfare. You know what I'm saying? So don't stress yourself too much over trying to develop these different things, all right? Read.
But seek ye first the kingdom of God.
Put the kingdom of God first. And remember, like it said in Matthew 11, the kingdom of heaven suffereth violence. So in a context, the kingdom of heaven is your people. You know what I'm saying? So seek the wellness of your people. You know what I'm saying? Seek pleasing the Most High God, keeping his commandments. You know what I'm saying? Seek that, read.
And his righteousness. And all these things shall be added unto you.
And all these things going to start to unfold. You know what I'm saying? You're going to see the Most High put the Spirit on us to develop these things and maintain these things, all right? So don't stress over it. Keep the commandments, and all these things that we went over going to follow suit, all right? Everybody understand?
Yes, sir.
All right, y'all officers got something y'all want to bring up?
Hey, the animal I was talking about was, well, it's the cow. It also can be used a lamb or a goat, veal. If you see veal, don't buy that. That's a goat or a sheep or a cow that's been still on this meat anywhere from a few weeks to 3 months. That's what they'll try to sell you in the store.
Right, so that would be violating Deuteronomy 14:21, seeding a kid in his mother's milk. Y'all understand? All right, Officer Baruch.
Hey, can I get that Colossians, what is it, 3:23? Y'all got to be mindful. This is a heavy class. This is how you're going to get the nation back in order. This is how we're going to build our nation. He showed us a guideline of how we can do it, but you got to remember when you put your hand to something. All right, read what you got up.
The book of Colossians, chapter 3 and verse 23. And whatsoever ye do, do it heartily as to the Lord and not unto men.
So we must be mindful. So we got to do it heartily. We got to make sure we put our, give me the precept, because I like it when it say, I think it says hand in it. Ecclesiastes. Yeah, let me get that.
9 and 10.
Yeah.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 9 and verse 10.
Read.
Whatsoever thy hand findeth to do, do it with thy might, for there is no work, nor device, nor knowledge, nor wisdom in the grave whither thou goest.
So whatever you do, do with all your might. So if a brother plan on building a house, make sure you get all the understanding of how to build a house. Follow what he said, because that's heavy, man, what you put. I didn't know you're supposed to put something on the roof. These are the things we must know when we building certain things. Do it with all thy might. Hey, when you gonna step, like he said with the technology thing, if you're gonna learn that, go in it, get in it. If you're gonna learn any trade, get in it, do it, so we can help our nation be the best. Because when we were in the kingdom, we were the best. And how we gonna do that again? By doing with all our might, wholeheartedly. Not playing around with it, not jumping in something, just saying, testing the waters and jumping out. No, when you get in it, when you put your hand to the plow, don't look back. All right.
Anybody got any questions?
We used to scream black power while Heron was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission. Minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road, purple and gold. From Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are our men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.